Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So just going to give you some additional information in regards to Romelu Lukaku, because we do know he's been relentless, linked to a move away for Manchester United. Reports are coming out saying that Manchester United have turned down Inter Milan's offer for Perisic plus cash for Romelu Lukaku, of course, because obviously we do know that Romelu Lukaku is heavily linked with move to Inter Milan, and I do believe from Romelu Lukaku's perspective, he wants to make the move to Inter Milan, because obviously now he's served his two requirements at Manchester United. Obviously, his proposed move to Inter Milan, could be a stumbling block, based on the huge transfer fee that we have put on Romelu Lukaku, because I think we want around £80 million. I mean, obviously this is a figure that Inter Milan are reluctant to meet. So basically, we're looking to recoup the majority of the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of seasons ago, because we did pay £75 million for him, plus there were several add-ons, including a deal of around £15 million. Obviously initially risen the deal to £90 million. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's on about £250,000 a week with Manchester United, but like I said, he's been relentless, linked to a move away from Manchester United. Antonio Conte got appointed as Inter Milan's manager the other week, and obviously he's identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target, but obviously they haven't come to an agreement on an initial fee as yet. So reportedly Inter Milan have offered Ivan Perisic plus cash for Romelu Lukaku, but reportedly Manchester United have turned this down, because we do know Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target. He was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho as Ivan Perisic, but I don't think we intend on getting him in now. He obviously wouldn't fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring young players in. He's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club, and obviously Ivan Perisic is 31 years of age now, so potentially he's aging up. He's Ivan Perisic. There has been talks that Inter Milan have offered Mario Icardi as part of the deal with Romelu Lukaku, and I like Mario Icardi a lot, but I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring Mario Icardi in. So potentially we want around £80 million, and I think Inter Milan need to raise around £40 million before the end of this month, to meet financial fair play regulations. So based on that, that could be another stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan. But I think we need to sell Romelu Lukaku anyway. He's one of the problematic players. Obviously enjoyed a very difficult second season there with Manchester United, because obviously we know that mainly Marcus Rashford had been first choice ahead of him. He did well in his first season. Romelu Lukaku, I think he scored like 27 goals in all competitions, but obviously didn't replicate that in his second season. But Man United a couple of weeks ago said that he can leave the club, but reportedly we are demanding that we want around £80 million, when even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has told Romelu Lukaku that he's served his two requirements at Manchester United. But maybe we think he's worth between 70 or £80 million, because we're reflecting on his age. He's 26, he's in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But Lukaku's ratio is very, very good in the Premier League. He's scored a lot of goals in the Premier League, and his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League. He's been at Manchester United 2 seasons. I think he's scored 42 goals in 96 games, of course. But I think it'll be beneficial if we cash in for him. It'll help us with our rebuilding process, and it will, of course, help us with our transition. So there's a possibility chance that Lukaku could remain at the football club. But it came out the other week, saying that Lukaku had been in Italy, and he had held negotiations with Inter Milan's representatives and all that, to get a deal finalised. And it did basically say that everything had been agreed and all that. It said Inter Milan had agreed the terms with Lukaku. It said Inter Milan had agreed a 5-year deal with Romelu Lukaku, and it also said Inter Milan are willing to meet his current wage demands, and it even said Lukaku was willing to It even said, Lukaku was willing to take a pay cut to make his move to Inter Milan, but obviously, they haven't come to an agreement on the initial fee. And like I said, I think we need to get rid of him, because I've got strong reservations about him. As you all know, he's too slow. He's not really good in the air. He hasn't got that endless potential. His footballing ability, also concerns me. So I've got so many reservations about Romelu Lukaku. So we do know he's Inter Milan's number one target. So I think Inter Milan have got to orchestrate something out, to try and get Romelu Lukaku. Of course, I think if we were willing to let Lukaku go as part of any swap deal, I think we would demand Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan. Whether Inter Milan will be willing to offer Milan Skriniar as part of the deal or not, I do not know. But there was a lot of talks about this, going on the other week. But like I said, I expect about 3 or 4 players to leave Manchester United this summer. Obviously, all the players that we do want to leave, we're not going to be able to address that problem in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to currently address that problem. I think another problem with Manchester United as well, we have let far too many players contracts run down. That's been another issue. Obviously, Rashford's in the final year V's deal. I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on selling Marcus Rashford, even though recent reports have said that Barcelona are looking to sign Marcus Rashford if they can't sign Griezmann or Neymar, because I think that's two of Barcelona's targets, of course, but obviously they're seeing Rashford as an alternative to Griezmann or Neymar, but I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on selling him, even though he has been inconsistent in the last couple of months as Marcus Rashford. I still believe he's a long-term solution. Obviously, he's very, very young, is Marcus Rashford, and obviously his first choice ahead of Lukaku. This is the main factor reason why I think Lukaku is linked to a move away from Manchester United and all that. So basically, Lukaku has initially lost his players in the team. But like I said with Rashford, we have been in talks of getting him a new contract, and hopefully we can get him a new contract. But obviously, Rashford has not graduated to that level yet. It's going to take him a couple of years, to get him to that level, where he can, wants to be. But I think also Real Madrid have been linked to him in the past. But he loves Manchester United. He's been a Manchester United player since the age of 7, 8, born and bred in Manchester, and he's been in the senior squad with us since 2016 as Marcus Rashford. So I don't think the club are intending on selling him. It's looking very imminent that David De Gea is going to be leaving the club. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how imperative David De Gea is. He's admired his fantastic career at Manchester United. He has been here 8 years, and I think for at least for the last year and a half, we have been in negotiations and trying to get David De Gea a new contract. Reportedly, he wants around 350 grand a week. Obviously, he wants to be one of the highest paid players at the club. And his current deal at the moment is on 200 grand a week, but reportedly Manchester United are not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands and all that. So I think he's set to leave Manchester United. I think initially PSG were intending on getting him on a free transfer next year, so that could tempt them, to offer him a bigger salary, because PSG, are the ones that have been in for him mainly. Well, should I say recently anyway? But I think PSG have now stepped their interest up in him, because obviously, Buffon is set to leave PSG. But PSG have spent big in the last couple of seasons, on Neymar and Mbappe. So obviously they're the two most expensive players in the world. But yeah, David De Gea is on their agenda, so I'd like us to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity. I said at full value, David De Gea is worth around £100 million for the goalkeeper, because he is potentially now the best goalkeeper in the world. But I don't see us getting £100 million for David De Gea, because obviously he's only in the final year of his contract. If he had like 3, maybe 4 years on his contract, I think we'd get around £100 million for him quite easily. But he did initially say PSG are preparing to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. PSG are willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. We also know Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. Obviously, reflecting back in 2015, Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him, but due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised. But I can't see him going to Real Madrid, even though maybe from David De Gea's perspective, he would be interested in making a return back to Spain and all that. Obviously, he grew up in Spain and all that. Did David De Gea? All his family's in Spain. Obviously, his girlfriend and that's from Spain and all that. So maybe he would, from his own preference, make the return back to Spain. But I think his likely destination is going to be PSG. Is David De Gea's. Like I said, he's been here 8 years, made over 300 appearances in all competitions. He's won everything here domestically. He's won the Club's Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 6 years. So he's been fantastic. Hasn't really done much wrong in his 8-year period with the club. I know he was making costly errors towards the back end of last season, but I think that was mainly, to do with the contractual situation, to be quite honest. So, like I said, I think we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. If he does leave the club, which is looking very, very likely. And I don't think it's in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to buy a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. I think he's willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, I've got reservations about that at the moment, because I don't think Sergio Romero is reliable enough as yet, to become our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, we've got Dean Henderson, but Dean Henderson's too inexperienced at the moment. I think, Dean Henderson needs to go and gain a bit more experience. I know he's been on loan with Sheffield United and that, but he needs to be loaned out for another season. So Manchester United, should orchestrate this out. I know we've got the likes of Lee Grant. Didn't we get a Lee Grant last summer from Stoke? But yeah, we need to buy a goalkeeper to replace David De Gea. And David De Gea still got quite a lot of development in him. He's 28 years of age. So I'll still say he's got at least 3 or 4 years left in him. So it's looking likely he's going to be leaving. I think we want around £75 million, because maybe we still believe we can get around £75 million for David De Gea. Whether PSG, would be willing to pay this or not, I do not know. And as I've been giving you the news about Juan Mata, quite recently as well, it has been looking very imminent. He's set to leave Manchester United. I think he's just got under 3. I think he's just got under 3 weeks left on his existing deal at the club, of course. And obviously, it's been looking likely he's set to leave. But now there could be a change of scenery about this, because recent reports have said Manchester United have offered Juan Mata a new contract. It remains uncertain whether Juan Mata is going to be willing to accept this contract offer or not. I can't see it being a long-term contract contract we've offered him, because obviously we're not going to offer him a long-term contract, you know, reflecting on his age. You know, he's 31 years of age, he's aging up, he has lost that yard of pace, but to be quite fair, I would like to see, you know, Juan Mata, you know, stay at Manchester United at least for another season, even though he's a squad player now, he doesn't even get in the team and all that, but I think he's been very consistent for us. You know, he's been a good servant here. You know, he's been at Manchester United 5 seasons. Obviously, he's been here since the David Moyes era. You know, we paid just under £40 million for him from Chelsea back in 2014, and he's made 218 appearances for Manchester United, scored 45 goals in all competitions. So he has been very, very good indeed. I've heard recent reports the other week. It came out saying that Newcastle had inquired about his services. Obviously, you know, Barcelona have been in talks of getting Juan Mata on a free transfer. And maybe if Juan Mata does leave the club, maybe from his own preference, you know, he may want to make the return back to Spain, because obviously he's Spanish, he grew up in in Spain, and obviously he began his career in Spain, you know, with the likes of Real Madrid. Obviously had 4 years with Valencia, where he did play under Unai Emery and that. And then obviously since he's come to the Premier League, he's been fantastic. In total, I think he's served about 7.5, 8 years in the Premier League. Obviously, this is including his 2.5, 3 years he had with Chelsea when he was younger. Obviously, you know, Rafa Benitez wants to reunite with Juan Mata, because obviously Juan Mata played under Rafa Benitez during his time with Chelsea. So I don't know if he'd, you know, want to go to Newcastle or not, Juan Mata, but there's a possibility chance now he could remain at the football club. Obviously, you know, we have got a release list of around 14 players. Obviously, that's being confirmed. Obviously, Valencia is on that list, and Herrera is on that list, but obviously, you know, Juan Mata is not being put onto that release list, of course, as you all know. But like I said, probably 3 or 4 players are going to leave, maybe 5 players, you know, may leave. I think it's very imminent that Darmian and Rojo are definitely, you know, going to be leaving the club. They've endured difficult times here, like I said. You know, Rojo, I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, you know, the amount of injuries he has sustained, and he hasn't really been first choice. Darmian's endured difficult time, you know, he hasn't really been given the chance at Manchester United, Matty or Darmian. So, like I said, well, it's beneficial that we're cashing in for them, and like I said, we can get around 25 or 30 million pounds for them. That's going to help us our rebuilding process, and that will also help us with our transition. Like I said, with Alexis Sanchez, I haven't heard any more latest news about Sanchez lately. Obviously, a couple of, going back, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago now, Sanchez's agent, of course, was in Italy, because obviously it said Juventus and Inter Milan had been in negotiations with Sanchez's agent over the potential move for Sanchez. I think Manchester United did say, you know, we'll let him go on a long season loan, and we were willing to pay half his wages off. Obviously, we can't get rid of Alexis Sanchez permanently, you know, based on his substantial wages. Obviously, he's on 400 grand a week, you know, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week based on image rights, and obviously, you know, the bonuses and that is about 500 grand a week, and obviously his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the football club and all that. So I think it's very, very you know, essential that we do get rid of Alexis Sanchez, because he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United. You know, he's aging up as well, so looking at it, he doesn't have a future at the club, does Sanchez, because obviously, you know, he's 30 years of age, he has lost that yard of pace, and you know, he was good during his 4 years he had with Arsenal before he came to Manchester United. He was good under Pep Guardiola at Barcelona when he was younger, but obviously, you know, hasn't replicated this form at Manchester United, so he hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, and he hasn't been the fundamental player as we all thought he currently would have been. So he has been very, very disappointing as Sanchez. So obviously we're going to have to loan him out, because no team can afford Alexis Sanchez, of course. But I haven't heard any more additional information about him, you know, quite recently. But like I said, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's working on trying to keep his imperative players at the football club. He's also working on bringing the right players to Manchester United, who he thinks are going to be good enough to represent Manchester United, who he thinks are going to be good enough to take Manchester United forward, and who he thinks, you know, going to fit the culture of the club and the history of the club and all that. As you all know, we have got Daniel James on the board, which is very, very good. Obviously, our first signing this summer, our first signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Now, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on that, and he's going to want to get another 4 or 5 players in to Manchester United. The spending spree is around, what, £200 million. Like I said, that should be enough for us, you know, to get around 5 players on the board, you know, depending on how we are with our recruitment this summer. Because analysing our recruitment policy is extremely, very, very poor. You know, we didn't spend out in January. Obviously, we didn't get as number 1 targets last summer, because obviously, you know, last summer when we had Jose Mourinho, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. But I think it's going to be hard for us to get you know, our number 1 targets this summer, because we're not in Champions League football for next season. Champions League football is always very, very pivotal, you know, if you want to get your number 1 targets. Solskjaer was saying towards the back end of the season, though, basically, you know, he still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in Champions League football for next season. Because obviously, I know we're a toxic club, and you know, we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, you can say we've been mismanaged for the last 5 or 6 years, you know, since Alex Ferguson retired. But looking at, you know, we're still a massive club. You know, we've got a fantastic fan base. You know, we're the most successful team in England. You know, historically, you know, we've won 13 Premier League titles. Obviously, you know, we've won 20 all in all. So we are still a massive club, of course. So this is why we've got to get the right players to Manchester United this summer to get us in that commanding position, of course, where this, where Manchester United, should, because we have spent a hell of a lot of money, since Alex Ferguson retired. I think £700 million has been spent. We've had different managers with different type of philosophies and all that. And we've got a history of spending big on players anyway. Especially in recent years. Pogba £89 million, our most expensive signing. Lukaku, £75 million, and always, getting them Galactico players and always spending big on players doesn't always guarantee you success. Like I said, you can get the best players in the world. If you're not playing as a unit and they're not playing as a team, of course it's going to potentially get you nowhere. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer. He wants to recommend a number of young players to come in, and he also wants to recruit British talent this summer, because there's so many British players on Manchester United's agenda. But as I've been updating you on a regular basis, well, I think I did update you today on my previous video about Bruno Fernandes. So it actually is looking very imminent now. He's going to be our second signing, which is very, very good news. This is coming from, if I can pronounce his name, this is coming from Pietro Bolzano Prota. He's a director of the Italian outlet. Is the director of the Italian outlet. I think it's Radio Rossoneri or something like that. He's basically said that Manchester United are very close to signing Bruno Fernandes, and he does say Manchester United have reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. So this is very, very good news indeed. His name's actually hard to pronounce, so let me know if I've pronounced his name wrong. But he's an Italian director outlet of the Radio Rossoneri or something like that. I didn't read the full article, but I think it's stemming from him. He's saying Manchester United are very close to signing him, and Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon have come to an agreement and all that, which is very, very good news. But we do know Bruno Fernandes anyway has been one of our priority targets. He's been on our agenda for quite some time. It didn't literally say, we'd scheduled a meeting, with Sporting Lisbon, I think for this week, to get a deal finalised. Obviously, reports are coming out from Ebola, saying that Manchester United are prepared to pay, from 62 million to 72 million pounds for his services. But a lot of reports were coming out from the Portuguese press last week, saying that Tottenham had entered the race for him. It also said that Liverpool, of course, had entered the race for him, because obviously, like I said, with Tottenham, they've got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. Obviously, Christian Eriksen's linked with a move to Real Madrid, and obviously, if Christian Eriksen goes, Tottenham are going to want a replacement for him. So they are seeing Bruno Fernandes as the replacement. They're also seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative to Giovanni Lo Celso, because I think Giovanni Lo Celso is Tottenham's main priority target. But obviously Tottenham not too long ago had a bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso, so now they have turned their attentions more on Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, with Liverpool as well, they'd inquired about his services. I think he admitted sometime last week that he likes Liverpool, Bruno Fernandes, and I think he would fit Liverpool's system perfectly if he went there, which I don't see happening now. And obviously, Liverpool and that can offer him Champions League football. But I do believe we have emerged as a front runners to get the players' signature. But I think he'll be great. I think he'll be a great addition to our squad. Obviously, it did say Ed Woodward, is hesitant over our transfer move for Bruno Fernandes, and I think Ed Woodward has got reservations about us spending big on players who from his own perspective, doesn't think is going to step up to the mark. But definitely, Bruno Fernandes will step up to the mark. I think he'll definitely exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, and he's been good in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon, and I do believe he'll replicate this form at Manchester United. But we do know initially it has been Manchester United and Man City that have been in for Bruno Fernandes, but we do know recent reports came out last week saying that Manchester City had opted out of the race for Bruno Fernandes, and they made a public statement about this, that they don't want to be mentioned in the media anymore, that saying that they're linked with Bruno Fernandes when they're actually not linked with Bruno Fernandes. But it came out a couple of weeks ago saying that City were merged as the front runners to get the player's signature. Obviously, we're willing to offer more than City anyway. It said Man City were only willing to offer around £40 million for his services, but it did say City were willing to offer a couple of their players as part of the deal. So Bruno Fernandes, it's looking very imminent. He's going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon, and it's looking likely he will be playing his trade in the Premier League next season with Manchester United. I think he scored about 28 goals last season for Sporting Lisbon, so he can score goals, and we need someone in that midfielder that can score them goals, and I think Bruno Fernandes is definitely the right solution. He is under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. Obviously had a lot of experience of playing in Italy when he was younger, obviously with the likes of San Pandora and Udinese and all that, but he's only 24 years of age, so he's going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly, and he's primarily an attacking midfielder. So obviously if Paul Pogba goes, he's going to be the adequate replacement. Is Bruno Fernandes. So very, very excited about this. Obviously Bruno Fernandes came out a couple of weeks ago and gave us an update on his future. He basically said that he's unsure about his future, and he basically said he denied having any negotiations with Manchester United over the potential move to Old Trafford. So it's looking likely now we are in the ascendancy of getting it. So looking likely he's going to be our second signing this summer, and it's very, very good news indeed. Obviously, as I've been giving you an update as well on a regular basis about Crystal Palace's Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously, like I said, Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents this summer, and obviously, Wan-Bissaka is British. He's one of England's upcoming hottest prospects. Is Wan-Bissaka. As you all know, he's predominantly a right back. Is Wan-Bissaka. But I do really, really like him a lot, and he's on Manchester United's agenda. So reports came out yesterday saying that Manchester United, did put a substantial bid in for Wan-Bissaka. Reportedly, I think we put a bid in for him of around £40 million, but reportedly Crystal Palace had turned this bid down, because reportedly Crystal Palace want in the region of around £60 million for him at least. Whether Manchester United will be willing to pay this or not, I do not know. I think the other week we'd submitted a bid for him of around £25 million, but obviously, this figure is going to be nowhere near enough, to convince Crystal Palace to let him go. Initially looking at it, ultimately Crystal Palace don't want to sell Wan-Bissaka because they know how much of an essential player he is to them. But I think even if Wan-Bissaka doesn't leave Crystal Palace this summer, at some point in his career, he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level and all that, because he has become an integral part of Crystal Palace's squad. He's only been in Crystal Palace's senior squad about 15 months as Wan-Bissaka, because he made his senior debut in February 2018, and obviously last season became a first team regular for Crystal Palace. He's still got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. I think he's gone on to make 42 senior appearances for them, but he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. But I do think Wan-Bissaka, has got the ability to elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years, of course. And we definitely need a right back, because we need a replacement for Antonio Valencia. Obviously, he's been at Manchester United a decade. He's been a long-serving player here. We know he's leaving the club, but I don't know where his next destination is going to be. There has been talks of Valencia going to the MLS. There's been talks of him going to the MLS. Could he go to Ecuador? Could he retire? I do not know. I know he's leaving the club, but I don't know where he's going. With Ashley Young, we definitely need an upgrade to Ashley Young, because as you all know, Ashley Young has no longer got the ability to fulfill that right back position, even though Ashley Young was our first choice right back last season, of course. But obviously, he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United, is Ashley Young. Again, he's been a long-serving player. He's been here about 8 years. And, I've admired his career, but like I said, when he was younger and when he was a right winger, he was really, really good for Manchester United, of course. But like I said, it was a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving him that new 1 year extension. He is 33 years of age. I think he's nearly 34 now, so he has passed his sell-by date. And we need a cover-up for Diego Dalot. And obviously, we did get Diego Dalot last summer for around, was it 19 or was it £20 million, something like that anyway. And obviously, he's the upcoming future is Diego Dalot. He's only 20 years of age, of course. He's predominantly a right-back, is Diego Dalot. But, quite a few times last season, we played him as a right winger, because he can play as a right winger, but he's predominantly a right-back. But we knew last season Ashley Young was our first choice right back, as you all know. A couple of times we've rotated Ashley Young to the left hand side. But yeah, like I said, I think Wan-Bissaka would be the right solution for Manchester United. Only very, very young, 21 years of age, and has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But Crystal Palace will not sell unless Manchester United are willing to pay 60 or 70 million pounds. I think also Tottenham have been in for Wan-Bissaka, but I do really, really like him, and I think he's regarded as one of the best right backs in the Premier League. So obviously, so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Initially, when he was younger, he was actually a winner, but as he was developing, then he got rotated as a right back. Did Wan-Bissaka, so predominantly a right back. So we definitely need to get a right back in, because we have got issues defensively. Obviously, as I've been updating you as well on a regular basis about Matthijs de Ligt for Ajax. I think it mentioned in the Sun about something about a holiday. I think he's set to make a decision on his future in the next couple of weeks. So he did say maybe we'll have to wait a couple of weeks. I think we're set to miss out on Matthijs de Ligt anyway, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, he is one of our priority targets, is Matthijs de Ligt. We do know it's very imminent that he's going to be leaving Ajax, but it still remains uncertain where Matthijs de Ligt, will be applying his trade next season. But obviously, he's a central defender, and like I said, I think we need 2 central defenders without a shadow of a doubt, because like I said, Smalling's not good enough. Lindelof, of course, is not good enough. There have been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones has been here 8 years, and they have demonstrated, with how long they've been here, that they can play well, they can hold the lines and all that. They have sustained quite a few injuries over the years that they have been here. But like I said, they're too inconsistent now. I think Smalling's much better defender than Phil Jones, comparing them, but they are too inconsistent now, and it's a bad mistake for Manchester United, giving Smalling and Phil Jones a new long-term contract. Obviously, we've got Eric Bailly, but like I said, he's initially lost his place in the team. To Eric Bailly, fair play, he burst into the scenes well when he came into the Premier League, and I still highly rate him. He's got great potential and all that, but I think, it'd be beneficial if we can cash in for Eric Bailly, because like I said, I think his Manchester United career has been affected, based on his fallout under managers, based on his injuries he has currently sustained. It's had a really bad effect on his Manchester United career, so I think it will be beneficial if we get rid of him. So yeah, I think we need 2 central defenders, because we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic, and since we had the likes of Ferdinand and all that, as you all know. But like I said, we paid £30 million for Eric Bailly in 2016 from Villarreal, so he's been at the club for 3 years. So if we're willing to sell him, I think we'll look to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal, of course. And obviously, it was one of Jose Mourinho's first signings. Obviously, Mourinho bought 11 players, spent just under £400 million, but obviously, Eric Bailly was the first sign. I think talks came out the other week saying that Arsenal were in for Eric Bailly, because obviously, they've got defensive issues as well. It's going to be pretty difficult, for Arsenal to have a competitive summer window, because they're not in a Champions League football for next season. But with Matty Stilett, I think his likely destinations now, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, I think are going to be probably, Barcelona and PSG. I think them 2 teams are considered to be the favourites, to currently get the players' signature. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months anyway, that Barcelona have been in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for him. Obviously, Barcelona have already got a deal over the line for his current teammate, Frankie de Jong, who Barcelona, of course, paid £65 million for. So maybe from Matty Stillett's perspective, he wants to reunite with his teammates. So I think Barcelona is still his first choice preference, even though reports came out the other week saying that talks are stalled, between Matty Stillett and Barcelona. And obviously the main factor reason why the talks are stalled, obviously reflecting on the financial demands. Barcelona were not willing to meet what De Ligt was demanding, and what his agent Raiola was currently demanding. So I think Manchester United, are still in there for him, but I think, we are set to miss out on him. I think the main factor reason why we're set to miss out on Matty Stillett, because Matty Stillett, wants to go to a club that's got Champions League football, and obviously, we're not in a Champions League football for next season, so I think that can go against us. I think we could definitely, assure Matty Stillett first team football, and I think this is also what he wants. He wants to be assured first team football, and Manchester United can definitely assure him first team football. Like I said, I think first team football would be much easier for him at Manchester United, than it would be for him at Barcelona, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think he'll probably end up making the move to Barcelona or PSG. It does also say that Liverpool are still in there for him. I think Matty Stillett's agent Raiola has basically said he wants his client to make the move to Liverpool, because maybe from Raiola's preference, he thinks maybe him joining Liverpool would be the right solution for him. I think, like I said, I think the main factor reason why Liverpool are in for him, because obviously they're keen on putting Matty Stillett alongside Virgil van Dijk in their back line. And obviously Van Dijk and Matty Stillett know each other really well, because they're both Dutch. They're both playing the Netherlands national team. But Matty Stillett's been subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation, and he has been widely spoken about throughout the course of this window. Obviously, Man City have been in for him. They're looking for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. Obviously, Bayern Munich have recently been in for him, because they're looking to get quite a few young players in their team at Bayern Munich, because obviously, they've got a host of aging up players. Obviously, Arjen Robben's set to leave Munich. Obviously, they're looking for a replacement for Frank Ribery. So they want to get quite a few young players in to Bayern Munich. But I think now initially they've opted out of the race for Matty Stillett. In terms of the transfer fees, Matty Stillett's going to cost you from between £70 to £75 million, because that's what he's initially rated at. But reports came out the other week saying that Manchester United offered him a contract, worth up to £350,000 a week. Obviously, that equates to almost £17 million a year. And obviously, if this was to process, this would make Matty Stillett, one of the highest paid players at Manchester United, also make him the highest paid teenager in world football. But he'd address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well if he was to come in, Matty Stillett. Like I said, he's 19 years of age. He's still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. He's very tall as well, which is beneficial. But he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level, of course. Obviously, he's becoming an integral part of Ajax's squad. He made his senior debut at just the age of 17. Got named captain at the age of 18. And like I said, he won the Golden Boy Award last year and enjoyed a fantastic season last season with Ajax. Of course, winning Ajax won the domestic double last season for the first time in 17 years. They also won the Saudi Divides title for the first time in 5 years, and also, you know, progressed to the Champions League semi-final. So Ajax had a great season last season, but I think Matthijs de Ligt, you know, became more of a first-team starter for Ajax. Matthijs de Ligt became more of a first-team starter for Ajax, you know, when Davinson Sanchez left for Tottenham back in 2017. So I still believe he's on Manchester United's agenda, but I just can't see him now making the move to Manchester United. So he did say last week he was set to inform Manchester United about a decision on his future in the next coming days, but I think now he's set to make a decision on his future in the next week or two after the summer break and all that. I think he's set to make a decision on his current future. But like I said, there's a number of central defenders on our agenda, as I've been updating you on a regular basis about Harry Maguire from Leicester. Obviously, it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been in for Harry Maguire. Just charge this. It has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been in for Harry Maguire. I think, you know, Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market because Leicester know how much of the central player is. I don't even think Leicester, you know, initially want to sell Harry Maguire, but recent reports have said Leicester are demanding that they want around £90 million. And don't get me wrong, Manchester United and Manchester City have got the financial power to meet that £90 million valuation, of course. But like I said, I just don't think he's worth £90 million, is Harry Maguire, because there's better than him out there. Obviously, Harry Maguire's not a Van Dijk, he's not a Napoli from Koulibaly, he's not a Rafael Varane from Real Madrid, is he? He's nowhere near in their calibre or level, but he's still a good central defender, and I would take him at Manchester United, but I just don't see us, you know, paying up to £90 million for his services. I think City have identified Harry Maguire as their number one target to replace Vincent Kompany, but obviously, even if Harry Maguire doesn't leave Leicester this summer, at some point in his career, he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level, maybe go to a team that can offer him Champions League football, go to a competitive elite level football club, and go to a team that can win trophies. And obviously, that at the moment Manchester City, you know, would be the right solution for him. But the question is, are Manchester United or Manchester City, you know, willing to pay up to £90 million for him? I can't see that happening. Obviously, Harry Maguire signed a long-term contract with Leicester last summer. Obviously, he's under contract with them until 2023. But obviously, reflecting back last summer, our priority, you know, was to recommend a centre-back to come in. Obviously, you know, Harry Maguire was one of the players that Jose Mourinho wanted last summer. But I think Leicester said they wanted around £75 million for him last summer. He's 26, he's in his prime. You know, he has still got him a lot of years ahead of him as Harry Maguire. So yeah, there's still been a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, you know, one of our priority targets is Napoli's Koulibaly, but like I said, I don't see Koulibaly now coming to Manchester United, because obviously, again, Napoli have priced him out the transfer market. You know, they're demanding an extortionate amount for him. Reports came out the other week saying that Napoli want around £150 million for him. Obviously, I think it came out as well the other day saying that Manchester United had lodged a bidding for him of around £84 million, but obviously £84 million is going to be nowhere near enough, you know, to convince Napoli, you know, to offer a load the player. Like I said, they want around £150 million for his services, but obviously Manchester United are not going to pay £150 million. Obviously, no, Real Madrid are not going to pay £150 million. But obviously, we do know Koulibaly is as relentlessly, you know, being linked to a move to Manchester United. You know, the rumours have continued to persist since last summer. Obviously, you know, the process started under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, reports came out the other week saying that, you know, we had a £90 million bid turned down. This came from the Italian press. Also, Real Madrid had a £90 million bid turned down for him. And like I said, I think last year, you know, we had 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly. So I think he's going to remain loyal to Napoli. And even if he did leave Napoli, I think he'd probably, you know, stay in Italy, you know, to be quite honest. Maybe he'd go to Juventus or something like that. But initially, Napoli, you know, do not want to sell him. Even though, looking at it from a financial point of view, if they could sell him, they'd, you know, they'd make a huge profit on the player, because obviously Napoli got him from next to no from Genk back in 2014. Obviously, you know, Napoli got him for around, was it £6 or £7 million? But, you know, he's made it over 200 appearances for Napoli in all competitions. You know, he has had 5 good years with them. Obviously, you know, Carlo Ancelotti, you know, recently regarded him as one of the best centre-backs in the world, and he's one of the best centre-backs in the world, is Koulibaly. But like I said, he's got all the attributes. If he was to come to the Premier League, you know, he would have all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League. He'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. And like I said, his distribution's really, really good. He's good in the air. He holds his line really, really well. He's got a lot of tenacity about his play, and I think he'd blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, you know, really, really well. And Victor Lindelof, you know, has done really well for Manchester United. He did well in his second season with the club. He struggled in his first season, you know, didn't really, you know, he was a bit inconsistent in his first season, didn't really fit in his first season, but I think in his second season, you know, he was very, very impressive. Lindelof, his distribution was good. He was showing that ability that he can play out from the back. His passing looked really, really good, so I was very, very impressed there with Lindelof in his second season. So we do need someone that can go alongside him. So many central defenders on our agenda, as you all know. Obviously, as I've been updating you on a regular basis as well, in regards to Gareth Bale from Real Madrid. There's a possibility chance now that he could come to Manchester United. We do know he's been relentless, linked to a move to Manchester United as Gareth Bale, since 2013. The rumours have continued to persist since that point, as you all know. Reports were coming out yesterday, as I've updated you in the last couple of videos. Manchester United are inquiring about getting Gareth Bale on loan. So this is what reports were saying yesterday. We're inquiring about getting him on loan. Manchester United are willing to meet his wages, so we're willing to pay his £480,000 a week wages. We're keen on getting him on a long season loan, but I think it's potentially 2 seasons. I think it's potentially 2 seasons, because he's an option to extend the deal by a further 12 months. Obviously, if this was to process, Real Madrid, would be able to Real Madrid, would be able to, get £50 million off their wage bill in the next couple of, the bit will splash out, £50 million on their wage bill in the next couple of seasons, if this was to currently process. So we've inquired about, getting Gareth Bale on loan. Obviously, as well, Manchester United are willing to pay a loan fee for him, but I just don't think we're keen on getting Gareth Bale permanently, based on that he's injury prone and all that. Obviously, he's been inconsistent in his last couple of seasons with Real Madrid. Initially, Real Madrid said they want around £75 million for Gareth Bale. So basically, if Real Madrid are looking to recoup the majority of the money that they did pay for him from Tottenham back in 2013, because Real Madrid initially paid around £85 million for him from Tottenham back in 2013, but Manchester United are reluctant to pay that. Also, Tottenham are reluctant to pay that, because there was talks a couple of weeks ago of Gareth Bale making a return back to Tottenham. But like I said, Real Madrid, from their own preference, would like to get rid of him permanently, but Real Madrid are going to find it very difficult to get rid of Gareth Bale permanently, based on his substantial wages and all that. And obviously, Real Madrid would, even if they want to get rid of him permanently, they wouldn't be able to recoup the initial £85 million that they did pay for him, because obviously he's been inconsistent in his last couple of seasons. Obviously, he's injury prone as well, and this is another main factor reason why I don't want Gareth Bale at Manchester United and all that. But like I said, Bale has been at Real Madrid 6 years. Even though he's injury prone, his ratio is still very, very impressive. He scored 102 goals in 231 games for Real Madrid. I think he's also provided about 64 assists. But obviously, Zinedine Zidane has confirmed that he doesn't want Gareth Bale at Real Madrid. He's no longer under his plans. He's declared that Gareth Bale doesn't have a future with Real Madrid, and he's still, like I said, he's still got 3 years left on his contract. But I think Gareth Bale actually was injury prone, during his 6 years with Tottenham when he was younger. So he was really, really good in the Premier League, when he was younger. And who knows, he could come back to the Premier League, and tear the Premier League apart. Obviously, it was Bale's job to step up to the plate last season for Real Madrid, because obviously, Real Madrid lost Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus after Ronaldo nearly served a decade at Real Madrid, and obviously Real Madrid didn't find a replacement. So it was Bale's job to step up to the plate, which he didn't do. You can put Bale on the left, you can also put Bale on the right. So reportedly now we have inquired about getting him on loan, but we're not keen on getting Gareth Bale permanently. So we're keen on getting him on a long season loan. The media does say there's also an option to extend the deal by a further 12 months. So reportedly, if this was to process, Real Madrid, would be able to, splash out, £50 million on their wage bill in the next couple of seasons. And obviously, Manchester United are also willing to pay a loan fee for him. But I do believe more things will update about it. And so that's the latest news on that. But obviously, he did say Real Madrid could be willing to offer Gareth Bale in a transfer offer for Paul Pogba, because we do know that Paul Pogba is on Real Madrid's agenda, of course. Obviously, it's one of their priority targets. Obviously, Real Madrid have got 2 signings confirmed now. They've got Eden Hazard on the board from Chelsea, and they've also got Luka Jovic from Frankfurt. So now they'll want to get a deal over the line for Paul Pogba. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's doing everything he can, to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club and all that. There's a possibility chance, like I said, he could remain at the football club, based on the huge transfer fee that we have put on him. Reports were emerging out last week saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him and all that. But I've already, given you the latest news about Paul Pogba, so nothing much more was updated about him. I know Manchester United and Real Madrid have been in talks about, the sale of Paul Pogba and that. Reportedly we want around £150 million for him. Obviously, Real Madrid are reluctant, to currently meet this. With Juventus, I think they wouldn't be able to afford to get Paul Pogba in a straight cash payment, like I've already said to you, so maybe they would have to offload a couple of their essential Liverpool players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba, of course. Obviously, as well as I've been updating you on a regular basis about Youri Tielemans from Leicester, there has been a lot of talks about him, going on quite recently. It says Man United are in for him. We're seeing him as a potential target. If Paul Pogba, does leave the club. So obviously, do you think he'd be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? He's only 22 years of age. He's had about 5 or 6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League as Youri Tielemans. Obviously, Youri Tielemans was pivotal in Leicester's transformation under Brendan Rodgers, and even Leicester are keen on now getting Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal. I think it said the other week Manchester United had been in negotiations with his representatives over the summer transfer. It also said Tottenham had held negotiations with his representatives, because like I said, Tottenham have got quite a few midfielders on their agenda. But I think Youri Tielemans is expected to make the return back to Monaco. I think Monaco initially are open to selling him. I think Monaco initially rate him at around £40 million, so that is a reasonable figure. And obviously he's under contract with Monaco until 2022. Initially Monaco got him from Anderlecht back in 2017. I think Monaco paid around 21 million. Obviously initially he began his career with Anderlecht, did Youri Tielemans. I think he made about 185 appearances across 4 seasons and scored about 35 goals for Anderlecht. I think won a couple of league titles with that and them. So he did really, really well, during his days with Anderlecht and all that. But like I said, very, very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester. So there has been quite a few teams in for him. I think also Arsenal have inquired about his services. So I do really, really like him. I think he's actually primarily a central midfielder. He's Youri Tielemans. So there's been a lot of talks about him, going on. Obviously, I've been giving an update regularly I've been giving an update on a regular basis, haven't I, about James Maddison from Leicester. But I think James Maddison is intending on staying with Leicester. Maybe not for the rest of his maybe not for the rest of his career and all that. But I think he's intending on staying with Leicester at least for another season. James Maddison, because he confirmed he wants to stay with Leicester, even though he's been subjected to quite a lot of transfer speculation. Reports came out early on last week saying that Manchester United had inquired about his services. He said Man United had made contact with James Maddison and his representatives, over the summer transfer. And to Old Trafford and all that, and I think we emerged him as a priority target. It initially said Leicester wanted around £60 million for him, so potentially, I think Manchester United, would be happy to pay £60 million for James Maddison. He's 22, very, very young. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, he's Premier League proven. Obviously, has had 1 year of experience under his belt in the Premier League, and he was fantastic in his debut season last season with Leicester. Scored. I think he was involved in 14 goals. 7 goals, 7 assists. Also created more chances than any other player last season. So did really, really well. And if Leicester were to get £60 million from him, obviously they get treble the money that they initially paid for him last summer from Norwich, because Leicester paid £20 million for him from Norwich last summer. So Leicester said they want around £60 million. But I think from James Maddison's perspective, he wants to remain with Leicester. And I think he did say at one point, we were merged as the front runners, to get James Maddison. I think from his own perspective, he wanted to make the move to Manchester United. But I think he's got reservations about joining Manchester United, because obviously we're not in Champions League football for next season. But likes of City, Liverpool, and Tottenham have been in there for him. They've been they've been tracking him. Since he was a teenager at Coventry, because obviously he began his career in Coventry. He grew up in Coventry, and that did James Maddison. So, and he's obviously an attacking midfielder, so there's obviously been a lot of talks about him going on. So there's so many midfielders on our agenda. Like I said to you, I think we need a centre defensive midfielder without a shadow of a doubt, because like I said, McTominay is too inexperienced at the moment. Obviously, Fellaini left back in January after serving 6 years with the club. Obviously, we got him for just over £27 million from Everton back in 2013. And like I said, Matic is too inconsistent. He's aging up, he's too slow. I've got strong reservations about him, so I do believe we need a centre defensive midfielder, of course. As you all know, you saw me give you my update yesterday in regards to Nicolas Pepe from Lille. Quite a few teams have inquired about his services, and I like Nicolas Pepe a lot. He's the type of player that that Manchester United do need. Obviously, he's the obvious candidate for the right wing for Manchester United. Is Nicolas Pepe. Just turned 24 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But like I said, it's imminent that he's going to be leaving Lille. Obviously, Lille had confirmed this. A couple of weeks ago, the Lille chairman confirmed that Nicolas Pepe is going to be leaving Lille. At the moment, it still remains fully uncertain where he will be applying his trade next season. But obviously, he was actually the revelation, for Lille last season, scoring 22 goals, providing 11 assists. Obviously, so far, has spent the entirety of his career with France. I think he's been at Lille a couple of seasons. I think, Lille got him from Manchester in 2017, and he's now under contract with Lille until 2022. So, like I said, he spent the entirety of his career in France. So, if he comes to the Premier League, it's going to be the next step for him, and he definitely would exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. He's got goals in him, assists, skillful, can create chances and all that, and I do believe he would be the right solution for Manchester United. But it does basically say that likes of Man United are in for him, also Liverpool are in for him, also Arsenal have previously been in for him. It does say also Bayern Munich have been in for Nicolas Pepe, but reports were coming out yesterday saying that Liverpool now could be in the ascendancy. According to Duncan Castles, who is a journalist, he said Liverpool have made initial contact, with Lille. They've also been in negotiations with Nicolas Pepe's agent over getting a deal finalised and all that. I think also Liverpool have had discussions with the player himself, over getting a deal over the line. I think the quoted fee is around £70 million, that Lille do want for him. And I think it did say Liverpool had put a bid in of around £70 million for Nicolas Pepe. So there has been also a lot of talks about him going on. But I'd love him to come to Manchester United, but I don't see that happening, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Because obviously, we haven't got Champions League football. Liverpool, of course, have got Champions League football. So yeah, Nicolas Pepe is definitely going to be leaving. So yeah, that's mainly everything to update today. And like I said, I think in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be that top four. I think probably going on into next season, our expectation levels won't be to win the league. It'll probably to be fit to finish in the top four, maybe in the Carabao Cup, or maybe win the Europa League or something like that. But at the moment, City strides ahead of us, and the likes of Liverpool strides them ahead of us. So it's very imperative, that we do catch up with the likes of them. And yeah, that's mainly everything to update today, guys. The main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Lukaku and obviously all the rest of the news. If you do consider drop your likes on the channel, if you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.